Hi, welcome to Selfseeds Through the Eyes of the Horse. You can see the sun's come out. It's still muddy, and so I'm going to take advantage of training in the puddles with the horses, but it's been raining for, I think, 4 days now in the desert, which is really unusual. So it's awesome, but muddy, and I'm going to get the horses back going again, starting out walking and adding trotting. Sabelle's working on with the drag flattening out the area, so I'm trying to stay out of her way while she's working on the roads in the arena. So you may hear some background noise of a truck driving around, which isn't always the case. But again, more great obstacle training. I mean, Bugs is slated to go be a hunter for somebody, and so he's going to have tractors working up the arena and driving around and just all of these things. So this is really awesome. So he just startled. There's 2 minis on the far side of that horse trailer that just made a crashing sound against the aluminum trailer. So he's good about water. I know during the summer he was in Colorado and he loves splashing around in the water. He'd be a really fun horse for somebody who wants to jump, somebody who wants to trail ride. He's just a cool guy. Oh, so Sabelle's going to let me go by.
I see the mirror.
We have the mini burros in activation in the drag. So again, more wonderful, wonderful training opportunities. And ladder situation. I don't ride him around. I haven't been riding him as much around the arena this way, so it's great to put him back to it. I've been ponying him and tack walking him in other areas because he had a little bit of a kerfuffle in one of his hind legs. I think he was overzealous in his Let's Be a Wild Stallion playing with Squidward. So now he's comes in the morning and is with Nador, and they're quiet. And he's going to be fine. I did have the vet look at it, and no problem. He's steadily getting better, just boys playing out in the field. That's part of the trade-off of horses being out together. And, but for me at this point in my riding, I don't have any urgency that I have a horse show next week. I don't have any particular goals other than to just help the horses to improve and to get stronger and fitter and better in their minds. And all of my horses are sale horses, so eventually they'll find their next destination. And in between, I'm just working on the details of helping them to be better and better horses, so whatever they do next in their career, that they are able to be safe for the rider and for themselves, and to stay out of trouble. Because with a lot of the training situations, horses need to be able to be in smaller areas under more intense programs and with people that are less skilled in riding. So it's a tall list for a horse. I mean, they're really designed to be out. And so in this case, I didn't go through the water only because he's so good about going through all the water obstacles that I tend, after I go through a couple times and they're good, then I move on to something else, because I know they're very willing and capable, and he's really good about water crossings. And I had live stream crossings in Colorado and rocks and different things, and he was awesome. I think he'd go swimming if you wanted to go swimming on him. And again, I think he can be flexible. Somebody wanted to do low-level eventing, he'd probably be great jumping into the water, and also as a hunter jumping over the water. So all these different interesting points that horses have to learn to be flexible about in the modern way that horses are living. So as I'm warming up, one of the things that I try to look for in the trot is, again, rhythm is big. Really important rhythm. Finding the right rhythm for the horse. So it's not just that I'm trotting, but it's how the horse is able to move inside of itself at the right pace and distance. It's like in the ballroom dancing, it becomes really helpful to be matched with somebody that has the same stride length And it's not that you can't adapt, but in this situation, the horse has the four legs on the ground, and you're trying to find the right stride length that the horse is using its entire top line and body, but at the same time isn't stressed about not reaching the right landing point in its feet, and also attaches the top line in a way that I look at it, it's like hooking up a clothesline where the whole top line can work in a functional way so the horse can move with balance, control, harmony, and a calmness in their mind. And then when you add a little bit more engagement, throughness, connection, transitions, then you start challenging how the top line is working. But in the beginning, when I'm warming up, I just try to find a stride length that makes sense for the horse, in a rhythm that makes sense, and with the intention that I'm trying to create a loop inside of the entire horse of the body. And I do this on a longish rein. Now, over the years, I've ridden for a few years, I've done it by shortening the neck and making the neck in a certain position. I've done it by no contact. I've done it with riding with different types of equipment. Didn't spend a long time in the draw rein world, but know what that's about. And with certain skillfulness, draw reins can be useful for helping horses to move through maybe very particular issues. But for me, it's never a substitute for training and for the horse understanding. It may just be that you can more effectively explain something to the horse, so maybe a couple of days, but it isn't something that I stayed with as a regular system of training. But anyway, so this horse actually had been ridden in draw reins before I got him. So I talk about the draw reins because he has a very long, elegant neck, but he didn't understand really how to use and connect it to his top line. And so that's really been a big part of our year, is that how he understands that the base of his neck has to extend out of his rib cage over through the withers, connect to his hind foot and out into the bridle. And again, it sounds so simple, but when you have a flexible, long, elegant neck, it's a little bit like organizing spaghetti to get the right muscles and tension and right reaching, when I think the draw reins had created a situation that he was kind of held down in the neck rather than ridden through his neck. So a big pivotal point in my training, I had taken some lessons with Conrad Schumacher, and he had talked about riding the horses through the neck. And I had already ridden dressage, and I think I even had my silver medal for the USDF and different things like that. And I mean, that was a huge light bulb moment. You hear the idea of riding through the horse's neck. Well, horses have necks, so you ride and you think you're riding the horse and its neck. But then you find out that you're not connecting the neck in the highest level of biomechanics that makes sense for the horse's construction. So that was a huge, huge pivotal point for me. So as you can see, then you spend the rest of your life, every horse, every variation, trying to live by that standard, whether you're doing a flying change or a half pass, you're jumping, you're going up and down a bank, to create that interconnectedness for the horse. So as you can see, Bugs is doing great. He's cruising along, taking in all of these details. I'm working back up to trotting, and then I'll be cantering again in the rehab process. Again, it wasn't a severe problem, but I'd rather take the time to go back through. He's going to have an awesome future. He's 10. He has a lot of life experience, and I think this year has been very effective for developing his how he can more skillfully connect his body, be more mentally available towards the connection with the rider. He'd had a lot of miles being ridden, But there's a difference when you're developing a horse that their mind is empowered and they're looking for the rider for guidance. I think quite a few horses, they get used to wearing humans, but the humans don't always have a clarity about a system of training and reaction, so horses become obedient, but not necessarily educated. To me, there's a big difference. So again, we did our trot workout. Now I'm going back to walking on a long rein. And if I've done a good job in my work, they always feel better when I finish walking on a long rein. They're just more connected, pushing from behind, fluid, and it's a real touchstone to how they've been accepting the work and what's happened doing the work when I walk on a long rein at the very end. So an A for bugs today.